We've got the Westerlund 1 pedal on the bench today. They are a new company that has just launched this pedal, and I'm very excited to dig my teeth into it. It is a preamp, booster, overdrive, distortion, tonal enhancer. Does a lot of things on here, and you can see that you've got an on and off foot switch and a boost foot switch on here. You've got gain and level controls, a 3-band EQ, a separate boost volume control over here, and then you've got a 3-way switch to select between soft clipping, hard clipping, and then off or amp mode. Then you can select between germanium and silicon diodes for the clipping options, and you've got a bright and a dark switch. So if you wanted to use this with a really dark amp and brighten it up, or you had a really bright amp and you didn't want all those extra bright characteristics on there, you can get that out of this pedal. It is really nicely put together and it came really nicely packaged. So let's make some guitar noises. I've got a Fender Ultralux Vintage running into the Westerlund 1. That's going into my 1979 Marshall JMP. I'm running it on the normal channel, so we're going to have quite a clean dark tone to get started so that I can show off how this pedal can enhance the core tone coming out of your guitar. That's going to the Saint Rock React IR2 load box, where I've got my free IR loaded. That's going into my DAW. There is just the tiniest amount of plate reverb on the guitars, no other post-processing or EQ. Let's hear the neck single coil, then the bridge humbucker. Alrighty, we'll start with that really dark neck pickup tone on there. The pedal gives you a lot of options on here, and the way I would think about it is essentially you want to use these 3 switches down here to taste. So if you want hard, soft, or no clipping on there, you can use this switch here. If you want germanium or silicon diodes on there, that's definitely an acquired taste either way. And then we've got a very handy bright or dark switch. So there's a reason that I wanted to set this up with a dark sounding amp, because I'm gonna start with it in the dark position over there, and we'll have a listen to the gain and level control around 8 or 9 o'clock on there. Maybe it's a little bit higher. It's more like 10, 11 o'clock on there. And we'll just use the EQ so that we can say brighten up that neck pickup and maybe add a little bit of mid-range push to the overall guitar tone. I could cut some bass on there as well. Let's do that. if you were stuck with a really dark backline amp and you wanted to use this as a preamp or tone enhancer, and also to add a little bit of grit and character on there with the different positions of the clipping switch and the level control, you can do that. We haven't even wound the gain up on here because the hard and soft and the germanium and silicon options on here can really get a wide range of tones from, I guess, a traditional sort of overdrive style tone. And again, using the mid-range control, you can get a real mid focus to it, or you can go to the hard clipping, scoop the mids out and almost get a fuzz style tone out of this. So let's just keep going where we are. I'll be back on the neck pickup. This is very, very fun and enjoyable. And you notice that it cleans up really nicely with the guitar volume control. A lot of fun. A few quick observations on there. The silicon clipping mode on there, you could hear, is definitely a lot tighter, and it feels, I'm going to say, a little bit bouncier under the fingers on there. I suspect I'm really going to like that when I crack some gain on the Marshall. The germanium mode, though, cleans up really nicely, as you would expect on there. And I did not expect to like the hard clipping mode with the bass and treble cranked and the mids pulled out as much as I did, but that's like a slightly more controllable, less chaotic fuzz on there. And we haven't even hit any of this with the boost. So let's stay on the soft clipping mode. We'll go for silicon diodes. I'll crank the gain and the level up on there so we're getting plenty of dirt into the amp. I've got the mids cranked. I'm going to pull a little bit of bass out on there. So I guess it's more your like mid-forward overdrive style thing. And then we'll kick in the boost on top of it. And I love this bright or dark switch. You know, we've been focusing on the bright side because I've got a very dark amp. I'm going to make the amp a lot brighter by using the lead channel on it, cranking up the gain, and then we'll see what we can get out of stacking this with the boost into an amp with a bit of crunch. But for now, let's have a listen to what the boost does on top of all of this. You know, we're over 10 minutes in and we've not even got onto the boost. Les Paul now, and I am using the lead channel on the old JMP, so it's got a little bit of crunch going on to get started. What I'm going to do is turn the bass down, boost a little bit of mid-range and treble on there. We're on soft clipping, silicon on the dark mode, and this, with the gain again around 9, 10 o'clock on there and the level up above noon, is a pretty sweet little way to push the front end of a Marshall, again with the classic Les Paul. again, and they haven't overloaded it with too much stuff. I do really appreciate that the two most important knobs, right? Gain and volume are oversized on here and really easy to get. The boost is recessed on here, and it all feels really solid, which I like. There's nothing more annoying than when you have an extra function on a pedal, particularly a drive pedal, that's going to be a set and forget thing. Like, you will find the right amount of boost on this to augment whatever you're doing with the pedal on there. You don't want to kick it accidentally. You don't want to do any of that. And having the 3-band EQ across the top, this is a very amp-like experience on here. And to me, it actually lives up to the tag of being a preamp. You see the term preamp thrown around a lot just for generic distortion pedals, but to be a preamp, to me, you have to be in some way enhancing the amp and enhancing the guitar. And you can do both of those things on here. Like, to enhance the amp, you've obviously got the 3-band EQ and you've got the different clipping options, but to enhance the guitar, we've got bright and dark. You've got the ability over here to crank up an extra boost on there and push the front of the pedal. So yeah, this is really, really interesting. A lot more than meets the eye on this one. I did not really know what to expect when I unboxed this one. It looks super cool. It looks like something straight out of the late 70s, which I really like. But sometimes you get really cool looking pedals and they do one thing, and the one thing that they do is okay. This does quite a few different things on here. And if you're a drive pedal junkie, and I know a lot of you are, I know I'm a drive pedal junkie, I think this is offering something pretty unique out there. It's a bit of a like design your own fuzz overdrive boost on there. I mean, we heard everything from like a subtle enhancing tone with the Strat, taking a really dark tone, making it a lot brighter, to absolutely doomifying like an AC/DC style crunch on there. So I'll pop a link to Westerlund audio in the video description. A big thank you to the team there for sending this one out. I've been looking forward to this pedal, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like what I'm doing, links to support me directly are also in the video description. I'll see you all on the next one.